let's go to the game number 2 and let's go to the decks for the players. So second game, Scherwi versus Marcos, and we have Scherwi as 5th Panzer Viking. Oh, that's interesting.
Personally, I think that Viking is not that good of a deck due to, well, it's a it's not that bad though either, because like you have great one of their issues is that while they have great Fokker wolves, they have quite poor availability, and also their Fokker wolves are too fast. So usually when you try to straight fight something, you fly past them instead. Is the unfortunate reality of the fighter Fokker wolves here. But we don't even see those in this deck. It's all 80. That might
Yep.
make me think that we're probably gonna see. What is the other play? What is Marcos playing? Another Panzer division, I guess.
He's playing 16th Panzer. Oh, okay. So I would just say what I think about Panzer Viking in general. Panzer Viking. So in general, I don't like the deck. I think that there are better Panzer IV divisions, including, I don't know, 12 SS, 20th Panzer, even 21st Panzer. Those are better Panzer IV divisions. Panthers are not really winning you the game. Pocket Wolves, ATR nice, boon, but I don't really know. I think that this deck is not the best deck around. It has a lot of tools to be useful, of course. It has tanks, it has infantry, Panzer Grenadiers, even machine guns or Jagd Panzers. But as we know that he is playing against 16th Panzer, the A8 looks pretty slim.
Yeah, I would, but exactly that. I think that's one of the downsides of SS Panzer. Like it's a normal okay ATA, but you're playing against one of the, if not the best air tabs on the Axis side. So you want a lot of them, and I still think that generally like SS Panzer Viking can be good against several Panzer divisions because it has it's a Panzer division like the other one, so it has tanks, but it also it has so much more infantry. So if you manage to make the fight more about the infantry side than the tank side, because you're both tanky, you're gonna outlast just on infantry and win that way. But like you say, it's very risky, especially against 16th, because of the AA. That like if he gets air dominance and he can't correctly manage his AA to counter the 16th air, then his infantry dominance is just going to be bombed to pieces. But otherwise, I do think that the Viking has like a niche role in especially like Panzer matchups. But yeah, they're a bit tough, especially now as we say like the Fokker wolves are just going to be very difficult, and he doesn't have any fighters himself. So, but yeah, I understand he wants those AT planes against the KTs, but still.
I'm curious who was the counter picker, but I don't expect 16th Panzer being both not banned and not picked. So I guess Panzer Viking was a counter pick. I'm not sure if he picked the Panzer Viking because of the Pocket Wolf AT. I don't think so, but it's really hard to think about something else in the matchup. Like, why would you pick this division against 16th Panzer?
Yeah, if I would go Panzer against 16th, I would choose maybe 12 SS Panzer, because what you have there is 16th, what we say strength is air, and what 12 SS has is amazing anti-air tap, while still having some good like fighters. So
and you have Panther G to fight King Tigers.
Yeah, but at this the same time, what is the biggest weakness of 16th is lack of medium tanks that are not Stugs. So they don't have that many Panzer Force compared to other Axis. So if you're an Axis division that has more Panzer Force, you can probably just overwhelm him with Panzer Force in the early game, and just put him at such pressure that he can't invest in the KT.
Yeah, but to be honest, what is really bothering me about picking 5th SS against 16th Panzer is, okay, KT, in my opinion, most of the time KT is not the winning part of 16th Panzer. What's the winning part of 16th Panzer is a lot of Focke Wolves just flying around you, and this A8 up doesn't look like able to stop it unless you brought them in one area and you have 8 or 7 kilometers of front line to cover. We need to take a look what the map is like. But if this is some kind of map like, to use any map, this AA is not going to stop this on any map. Maybe on some corridor map, but that's still gonna to be rough. All right, so let's go to 16th Panzer of Marcos. All right, yeah, Focke will spam. How many here? 4, 8, 12. 20 Focke Wolves, fighter bombers, and 3 fighters. Oh man.
Amazing deck. The only thing I see here then is, yeah, the smaller Nebelwerfer I wouldn't take because it's not really good. But yet again, 2 good decks. Like, it's you can be a nitpicky, but I think they're like either of these decks. If you take them and go in a ranked game, you're not really handicapping yourself. One thing I do think it surprised me is he has the G3. Like, you want the Focke Wolves except the G3 because the G3 I think is the bad one. And other than that, if you go, oh right, his Nebelwerfers are the munition wagons. So okay, I guess that's a way, because when you have KTs, you usually want to have something to get munition wagons so you can repair those KTs.
Yeah, I really like that he kinda knows the meta. It looked like Marcos. He played Blidata. He now plays 16th Panzer. Okay, other than tank tap, of course, I like that he double vetted his MGs and he brings all the cards. Like,
Yeah.
nothing.
One thing I would change is that, as you can see, first, he doesn't bring the Panzer Force, or only in B. Like, the Panzer Force is really important to use, and having double Tigers and Stugine, like, my thinking is I would just take the Panzer IV leaders, because you just need more Panzer IVs, and Tigers in Axis Mirror is usually quite bad because a lot of enemy armor can just kill your Tigers very cost efficiently. Like, Tigers, they rarely trade well in an Axis Mirror, so I would not really pick them myself. I would use that instead to maybe get the Panzer IV leaders or something else.
Yeah, the true winner of almost every single Axis mirror in the game is double vetted P4. Of course, there are like certain rules you need to, follow. You don't fight King Tigers on 2K, but Panzer IV in close range is actually better than Tiger. Is usually winning against Tiger because it shoots fast. It's more than able to penetrate, and so on and so on. From the deck perspective, I don't know what is the map yet, but I would favor 16th Panzer. Let's see if they manage to do it in the map itself. So I'm going to the replays. Then I'm hyped. I'm so hyped after the first match. First match was so good. So good to watch, so good to cast. So nice to see from Greenhorns doing that kind of maneuvers, that kind of playstyle. Of course, there was a bit of sloppy micro, losing stuff in transports. Still, it was very good game, guys. So not only, guys, we see 16th Panzer, but we see 16th Panzer on Slutsk East.
Ooh, yeah. This is gonna be tough. What do you say? Let's have red on left side.
All right. I'm going to in-game. I'm going to no spoiler. No spoiler stuff. Perfect. And I will fast forward to the deployment. Do you think that Slutsk is balanced? In my opinion, it doesn't look like, but it's one of the most unbalanced map in the game. In terms of the one in the league pool, at least.
Just sitting back, building up the AA and heavy tanks. So that's how you do it. That's like, why I think, like, for example, Blindata Romanian is actually good against 16th, because what you do is you have good AA and you just spam P4s and just put so much early medium tank pressure on the 16th that they don't really can invest in a KT. And if they invest in a KT and an AA, that's such a small part of the map that you're just going to dominate everywhere else instead. So
Yeah.
that I
The,
think is the way for victory here for Scherwi. But Scherwi, we know, likes to hold back. Okay, so 8 minutes 10 seconds.
all right. Yeah. I'm already there, but okay. So let's 3, 2, 1. Let's start. I will hide panel and unhide the Mr. Spoiler stuff. Yes, it's already gone. So, speaking of the matchup, I see that usually red side on the left is most of the time attacking the pretty easy flag on the blue side in the very, very bottom. This time it's not going to happen. Scherwi. Oh, no, Scherwi is sending one Flower Werfer. Okay, Scherwi is sending one Flower Werfer. By the way, why is your Flower Werfer going in Kettenrad? This is a mistake. This is only 70 kilometers per hour. Most of the time it's not enough. In the meantime,
Yeah.
Marcos opening with standard MG spam in the middle. And we see that Scherwi, is having token forces in the bottom side, and he's going full on into the north. Not yet attacking, but it looks like again like Yarda Boy playstyle. He wants to build up a bit and then push with force.
Exactly. This is a risky game to do build up, and also he's really, like you say, token in the south, which is understandable because if you survive, like the south, it's much easier to take back. On this map, if red managed to take the northern hill, it's very, very difficult for blue to push back up in there. So that's what I think why he invested. So he's okay with losing a bit flags in the south if he can just take the hill, because once you take the hill, you're gonna be very hard to get back there, and then you can, once you have it, you can start investing in taking back the southern flags.
Okay,
And
I like that Marcos brought the bomber, bombed, and instantly followed the infantry. I kind of don't like that he blind bombed, but maybe he was playing by memory that a lot of stuff puts the flame troops in the forest.
yeah, it's certainly both players are playing very well. This is, like we said, like last game already. This is things like place you can see, like not really in Greenhorn, but else, like in much higher division as well. And in the meantime, then is the question though, as I said, like Scherwi wants to build up, but that's the difficult because 16th is not the one you want to pressure. So he really, if he builds up, he really needs to get that blob to do very well.
Yep, indeed, I agree. So far, pretty silent bottom. Okay, Panzer 4 is going for Sherry, but I think it will do only defensive role there. I'm pretty sure Marcos won't do any offensive in the bottom, at least for now, especially that he take a flag for basically free in the middle, and he's already ticking Sherwi down.
Yeah, I'm surprised how little armor Scherwi put on up on the hill, because that's gonna, on the other side you have so many AT, like armored cars and a Stug. Because if you had a few P4s here, this is where Stugs are, like in this north area where now Marcos is unattended, like there's no challenge against him taking this forest. But if you're fighting over this forest here at the very edge, that's where Stugs aren't that good, and P4 could usually just dominate it. And Marcos don't have any P4s, or he could potentially have a single card. So if I think that Scherwi maybe is losing out an opportunity here, because yes, Jack Panzer is really good in access mirrors, but at this very close ranges, it loses a lot of its. It's still good, but it loses a lot of the upside it has.
Yeah, we see from both players that not only deployments and new reinforcements coming to the hill area, but also all the micro is focused here. Nothing much happening in the other part, to be honest, but the fight for the next at least 10 minutes, it looks like will be over this part of over this hill. Blue cannot afford losing it, and this is kind of natural points to attack at least one flag for the blue here.
I think that's the downside on this map is that, like we say, like blue has much less options because it's such a punishing if he loses that. So he really needs to hold it. But that's if he manages to hold it and, like we said, build up the AA net, the get in a king tiger later, like it's gonna be very hard for Scherwi even if he gets a big army. So like we see now, he already has a good chunk, even in the, like not in the hill but the northern city as well. But they're right now just waiting for more. And this is the downside: is that yes, you're sitting still and building forces. The downside is that on this map, you're doing it in the one spot where Marcos is doing the same. So you're not getting that local superiority. Usually, that is really good when you do it like on a map where it's not as clear where you will push. But on this map, it's right already. It's very clear where Scherwi wants to push. So Marcos is putting all his points in defending that point. So the amazing strat that Scherwi did the first game of just overwhelming is going to lose a lot of its potential due to it's not going to be a surprise as much, and it's going to be not the same amount of local superiority.
Yeah, especially that pushing into that concentration of force without off map, it's usually painful, or other like artillery or bombers. But
Yeah,
yeah, I like from Marcos that this is second game in a row he's using kind of like of combined arms. He brought the leader with a radio. He broke a half-track mortar, and he trying to get rid of annoying him pieces, like in this case Jagd Panzer 4.
yeah, we'll see. So he goes for the mortar half track. I would rather go for maybe. Do you need a? I don't. Maybe not that much. Some a. Let's see if the half track then can do, because that's the thing, is like half track is good at supporting against infantry, but it's not the infantry on Sherry's side that's gonna decide this fight. It's whoever gets the kill, whoever has tanks left after the engagements. So I would just try to make sure that I invest more points in being the one winning the tank fights instead of having like a half track winning some infantry fights. Because even if you kill all his infantry and you have infantry left but no tanks, and he has tanks but no infantry, you're still gonna be, I don't think, in a good position.
Yeah,
Ooh,
pretty dangerous position for Scherwi now, because okay, front line stabilized. Marcos managed to get one flag, and we see that Focke Wolf Galore is starting to appear one by one, being annoyance. Okay, so there's nothing to kill this Panzer T-34-85 right now, but there is also not enough power to push for Scherwi, in my opinion, at least not yet.
he needed more tanks here, because right now that's what happening. Scherwi is getting the local superiority because he brings some more grenadiers. What he needs is, he's now the double tigers are coming. He needed those tanks. Unfortunately, the tigers are not very cost efficient in this area, but he just needs tanks here because that's the way he can hold this. But if he loses this hill here, it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be a slow tick though, luckily. So because it's not gonna be a double tick, so hopefully he would still have the chance of like building up and taking somewhere else. Because right now, if you see the south, there's two Flammenwerfers. Like if he just, that's an like poke here a little bit, you could maybe sneak a flag there, and instead.
Yeah. What I also think is that I said earlier that usually it's really hard with Scherwi AA, or the amount of AA card he has in the deck and quality of the card, to secure a very good AA position. And there is one very good position for its AA, where he managed to get all the heal. He can put the AA around the red flag, which was already taken by Scherwi, and then it will be very, very tough for Scherwi to support this northern area with Focke Wolves, because this is the only good spot for AA in this map for Scherwi.
I've already winning these fights, so he needs to be a bit quicker. His AA needs to start moving up now, and I think this is a mistake as well. Like his he has a commander. You just move it a little bit, and you have a double vet on your AA instead of now just standing back there. But that's might just some missing out. But ooh, and there we go. The hill is
Gone.
certainly very, and that's where we'll see he got the local superiority, and that's how he managed to really trade well. And now the two tigers and some panzer generators are coming, but as we said, it's going to be really tough to push this back.
Well, so far he didn't lose any single flag, so he can be happy, but for sure losing defensive position on the edge will be painful, and unfortunately for Marcos, Panzer Grenadiers are not that great into pushing into the green forest. These flame troops will basically require some either mortar or bomber to dislodge them from the forest. Another Focket Wolf.
This is the time to actually when he wants to use it, but it's not really doing things. I don't know why it's so far back. He can hide from line of sight in the city, like he can use this buildings to block him. Now we actually see the Fokker Wolves is getting chased off by the flak. It's sad that it doesn't have a few more stars.
And 12-12, and this spot, it didn't look at like that in the beginning, but this local superiority for Scherwi managed to get rid of Marcos' forces. He gave basically heal for the free, and it means that any tiger here is in the risk of being side-shotted, and it's already happening.
And exactly, he's getting side-shotted, and he's using a tiger at a time. And like we say, the tiger is it's not a good tank, and this is how you deal with 16s, as you can see. You just pressure them early so they can't invest in the tanks they want to, and you fight them in the close quarter because their tanks, they don't have that many close quarter tanks. But that's what Marcos needs to do, because that's the thing is, if Marcos managed to take here in the open that one flag with the famine worker, he can lose the hill and still not lose any ticks. And then he could go into a more defensive of just building AA and air, and then letting his Fokker Wolves grind him back to victory. Because if he loses the hill but doesn't get a tick, he doesn't have to attack the hill, which is going to be so difficult for him. And here we see the flak 33 is too far back, making it so it doesn't support his forces.
Yeah, but Scherwi is already moving a bit forward. That's a good choice. In the meantime, bombing runs from Marcos. I think that I complimented him earlier for combined arms. In this case, I really can, because his bombers came a bit too late for what he wanted to do. Marcos, again, this is actually good move. He tries to move, get another flag in the open. He's risking, of course, getting AT planed, but he needs to do something, so he doesn't panic. He decided maybe that, okay, I lost enough, maybe I will give up the heal, and he tries to push the other part of the map.
Yeah, I think it's a very hard thing to do. Like if you're not, like we said, instead of just throwing more infantry where you're losing, he needs to, like he's doing now with his tiger, find where he can get. If he uses one of those Fokker Wolves to bomb the area here with the famine werfer, if he figures out which building, I would just move up one of the MGs to go for an assault, figure out where the enemy infantry is in there, and then bomb it, and then you have that flag. Because, like I said, you can accept losing those two, but there's it's sad that he doesn't have any off map. It's such a crazy concentration of enemy infantry. Like if you get a 210 off map here, you would get an amazing KD. But what you just need to do then is that, yes, you can accept losing that, defend so you don't lose the city in the north, which is difficult when you lose the hill, very difficult, I would say. But still, if you can then compensate that for the south, it's good. But here we see the Fokker. This is exactly why he has the Fokker Wolf on the Panzer Viking, because, and he's playing them right. He's using it very defensively. He only has 3 of them, so he's risking. And they're expensive, so he's not risking any of them.
Yeah, I think that maybe it doesn't look yet, but this is looking horribly for Marcos. And I think he doesn't really have means to come back, at least in next few minutes. This push in the open looks kind of last resort, because the north is completely failing. Scherwi doesn't push him completely out, but it looks like complete collapse on the north. And even with King Tigers pushing into fortified area and the hill, there is too much possibility of side shot to approach safely.
It's like we say, 16 is a top tier division, but it has this weakness, is that in the early, it doesn't have the close range fighting tanks. So if you really pressure them in that area, which is exactly what Scherwi did, they can falter. And what Marcos did was in that area, which he couldn't afford to lose, or was very high chance that enemy's gonna attack. He only had a single Stug, and that was the only like real tank he had. And I think that was what he didn't have any good options really there, but he needed more of, even if it's not the best option, to actually like not lose that area that early.
I need to say one thing. We see that Scherwi still has upper hand both in points, in ticking flags and amount of force on the field. But I think that he does this rookie mistake I already mentioned, that he has seen Tiger and forces going into the middle, even reinforcing right now. He doesn't spot King Tiger yet, but I'm pretty sure he will see it with Mobile Wagon pretty soon. So he knows that Marcos invested a lot into bottom. So he knows also that he traded so good in the north and he has so many forces that he should go further. He should give, the final blow. Why? Because if he just sits and he's happy on 13-11, maybe we don't see it now, but if game goes for like 40 minutes or something, there is slight possibility for Marcos to come back. As I said, like in soccer, like in football, if you don't use your goal scoring situation, it will backfire on you.
We saw it last game. We thought that Marcos was totally out of the game, but Marcos showed that he was really good at coming back. And 16th is a division that is very good at coming back if it's left to sit back and build up. So that's what we're gonna have to see if Scherwi if he can if it's gonna be a nail biter again, or if Scherwi learned from last game and put more pressure on this time, ensuring that Marcos doesn't get to build up back, and that he does the right, because he needs to get one flag. That's the thing, is that right now, if you look, Scherwi doesn't have any easy flags to take. Like, yes, there's like nothing in the north. So when it comes to map position, like, no, of course there's nothing here, so it's easy to take, but he doesn't know that. So from the sense that like map position, if there's like a decent force defending this, it's a very hard point to take these three. But he wants, like we said, the 15 tick, and there's no easy flags per se. Now there's some easy flags due to the lack of forces, but per se, like from red, there's no, after this, and you don't have the middle, it's no easy way to get the double tick. And
well, to be fair, Scherwi is exactly doing what I said earlier, that he sees King Tiger, he sees a giant amount of concentration in the bottom, so he decides to descend the hill. And to be honest, like, there is no really good tank which will fight down the valley against two Panzer force and Panzer T-34-85. We see Pantera going. There is also Jagd Panzer going around. Yeah, he's doing what I suggested earlier. Just you spot the blood, you see concentration, you go.
He's doing the exactly right thing, and both in the north, like you say, he sees the enemies not develop, so he does just attack move with everything, which is correct. And at the same time, the King Tiger, he sends in his Fokker Wolves there, because that's the thing, is like a single unvetted mobile wagon is not gonna be enough against those rocket planes. The King Tiger is still, yeah, it's half damage, I would say, but that's it. Like, both they came in, they got the strike off, and they survived. That's not very good news for Marcos in the one place he actually has a strong force, because
I'm kind of surprised that he didn't try to attack this flamer warfare flag. Okay, right now we can see that there is some Panzer T-34 Stugs around, but there was a moment that there was nothing on the hill and he still had armor superiority. Like, the moment where he pushed the Tiger so far, like, even single squad or single recon car going around spotting what's there could be useful. But 17-7 and another flag in the north going into Scherwi favor. To be honest, this is looking like spawn for Scherwi. Spawn for Scherwi in a minute.
Yeah, I think this is gonna be more decisive than last game, because because this time Scherwi lost, like, his forces are much, instead of having it spread out, they're much more like in one area, and the area that he's not winning is having much less flags as well. So he really did the Scherwi and Jardable play. He really messed up. And when you have a huge, even if you're have like say tanks that are not even good in the matchup, like you're using a weaker tank against stronger tank, like a Stug Freeze versus Stug Force or whatever. If you with just the numbers, you're still going to decimate your enemy, and that is what is currently happening.
Yeah, I think that Marcos had a bit too big fight in Tigers themselves, and he paid the price. That Tiger is not the most awesome piece around, especially if you go against T34 on 1k, even against P4 again on 1k. That's not going to work. And in the meantime, I think Marcos a bit choose weird position to push or like weak execution, at least from what he tried to do in the bottom.
Yeah, I think it's like I said in the deck building is that he needs the Panzer Force in A usually with this division, and because you have such a like you you really want to midget and reduce your weakness of 16th. But yeah, otherwise like it was a tough there, and I must give it to Scherwi. He really did the right thing how to deal with it, and really like his blob worked. It traded well and just totally decimated Marcos.
Yeah, like in previous game, we called that Scherwi won at certain point before like we could see that Marcos could actually go back. But I think that this game is much harder situation for Marcos to come
not
back.
Not even close compared to the other game, because if you just look at the amount and how close to spawn it is.
Yeah. And that's why I was saying that I think this is pretty weird choice and a weird push on the bottom for Marcos. Okay, he got one flag. He has King Tiger, but he's sending even like 3 more infantry squads. And what they are going to achieve?
But, I think the game is over either way. And in like if he send those 3 infantry in the north, they're just gonna die harder. So I guess at least they have a chance to trade decently in the south instead of, because in the north, like we said before, it's gonna be those 3 against 12 half tracks, 8 infantry squad, 6 tanks. Like they're not gonna do anything in the north anyway.
Yeah, and another spawn closed on the top. So this flank is completely gone till the end of the game for Marcos. He still tries. I love this attitude of trying. I wish him to be successful, but I think there is very little he can do at this moment. Turretless Stug going to be decimated by T3485.
The Marcos Stug bugged out and we got stuck with aligning, so it never fired. It's not gonna decide the game as it's already over, but he would probably kill that T3485 because it's super damaged if it wasn't for the Stug bugging out and getting stuck on aligning.
All right. In the meantime, Marcos going on the bottom for another flag. Pioneer Rush. It can work. He will get one flag, I think. He will get this flag he needs. But to be honest, to stabilize, he needs at least one more flank over this. So, yeah, unload. MGs are dead. He may even kill the flag 43 though, with half tracks, if he's lucky enough. I really liked how map almost split it diagonally. Of course, Scherwi has advantage, but
yeah, it's it's shifted.
Yeah, and by the way, I was speaking about the only very good AA position in the map. I think it's not important at this point in the game, but Scherwi moved the flags there. Only if he moves his P Grand Führer to upvet them and his commander, no Pocket Wolves
his
will appear.
commander is lagging a bit behind with the leaders, but it's understandable. Like you're already decimating. Like you're not really giving that much attention to the very back line.
Yeah.
And so, now it looks like
yeah, continue.
that his mobile wagons might risk getting sniped by some Stugs here, but no, I think they're just slightly off, and now the Cunnings comes up.
Yeah, this Kenix Tiger is very risky position. The right click on Stug can cost him King Tiger. This will be like completely nail the coffin and complete disaster if he loses even the King Tiger in the open. And Tupac Fort is already showing the teeth, and King Tiger is showing the side armor, so this is not going to be fair matchup for King Tiger.
Yeah, as you know, the King Tiger is extremely strong, but as people know, it doesn't even have 100mm of side armor, which makes Pack 4Ds totally decimating. Like this train of 80 planes, this is a dead King Tiger. It's gonna get hit by the 80 rockets in the side. I don't even think. It managed to realign just enough in this to actually get hit in the front, but it's still too late. It's just too many rockets. It's all the entire air force of Scherwi at once. All his free planes.
Yeah, and Mobile Wagon, even two of them unvetted, are not going to stop this. Mobile Wagon are not that good prevention planes. They are pretty good at killing Castr Stukas though, but not Focke Wolves 80 planes.
Yeah. Exactly. He needed a vet to be able to stop that, and especially when there's free at the time, it's even difficult then. And now we see in the back, Scherwi is trying to go around and just capture. Capture the rest of the. It's only a single reinforcement point left. Will he be able to take all the reinforcement points before the game is over? That's the question.
What we need to give to Marcos that he's still trying, he's still playing.
Yeah.
I would already surrender at this moment in the game.
I would have certainly surrendered.
Oh man. So what won Scherwi this game, and what was the difference between the previous one? I will tell you guys. This is the moment when Scherwi didn't capitalize or like didn't push even further to the spawn in the face game, allowed Marco to push back. In this game, it didn't happen. Scherwi just used the opportunity, he hit the hammer, and you see that 3 spawns are already taken. To be honest, nothing can change the outcome of this match. Nothing I can imagine. Nothing at all. Where's King Tiger going? Oh, King Tiger's traveling to the middle. He wants this center area controlled. But even the middle flag is going to Scherwi favor. Oh man, hard to
bit
watch.
More decisive, and I think, like we said, people complain 16. It is very strong, yes, but as you can see, it has weaknesses, and I think that was really what Scherwi didn't really understand that. I think he misunderstood the weakness with the division, and that's what left that weakness open, and Scherwi very much fought the area where that weaknesses was maximized in this map.
Yeah. 4th spawn, soon to be taken. If he fast move his half tracks instead of Q move, I think this spawn would be already taken. We'll see if he managed to do it in a minute. We have left on timer, and this is pretty humiliating because Marcos is certainly better than losing all spawns in the game. And I'm not sure if this is true, but if I remember correctly, if you lose all these spawns, you lose the game like in 5 seconds.
I think it's 10. It happens rarely to me. Barely see it, but yeah, 10 seconds.
10. 9.
There we go.
Yeah. All right. All spawns taken. Total victory after very tooth and nail game number 1. Pretty much it could be swing to Marcos' favor in the last seconds. It didn't, but it could. The second game goes 100% to Scherwi, trading better, using opportunities better. In my opinion, taking better plays to fight, for example, where Marcos wasted his Tigers. Perfect gameplay from Scherwi. Nothing really to I think I have no feedback for you, bro. You're a very good player, or you will
Yeah,
be very good player with a bit of experience.
Yeah, like certainly, like this could be one of the new rising stars in the next league. I have a feeling that when this guy gets placed, unless he gets placed like a few divisions up, even, which is still a possibility. If not, I think that that both of these players are very likely to get a lot of fantasy league picks because that's the actual important part. That's the league is only really there to for us to be able to use the fantasy league, because then I can pretend I'm actually second.
All right, so that was Marcos versus Scherwi.